The moment your world starts falling apart is exactly the moment most people make the worst decisions of their lives. Not because they are weak, not because they lack intelligence or drive, but because no one ever taught them what to do when the pressure becomes unbearable and the mind starts screaming for an exit. Think about the last time everything seemed to collapse at once. A relationship breaking down, a career taking a wrong turn, financial stress piling up like weight on your chest. In that moment, what did you do? What did you feel? And more importantly, what did you lose control of? Here's what almost no one tells you. Your emotions are not the enemy, they are information. The problem is not that you feel too much. The problem is that most people have never learned to read what their emotions are actually trying to communicate before those emotions start making decisions on their behalf. When everything falls apart, the brain does something predictable and dangerous. It shifts into survival mode. The prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for rational thinking, long-term planning, and perspective, goes quiet, and the amygdala takes over. This is not a personal failure, this is biology. But what happens next is entirely up to you, and that is where most people lose the battle without even knowing it started. There is a specific pattern that separates people who navigate crisis with clarity from those who collapse under it. And it has nothing to do with being emotionally numb or pretending everything is fine. It is a skill, it is trainable, and the people who master it tend to come out of their hardest moments not just intact, but fundamentally stronger than before. So, what is the first thing you need to understand? Emotions move in waves. They rise, they peak, and they fall, but only if you let them. The instinct during a crisis is to either suppress what you feel or to be swept away by it entirely. Both responses guarantee that the emotion controls you instead of the other way around. The practice that changes everything is deceptively simple. Name what you are feeling with precision, not I feel bad, not I'm overwhelmed, a specific language. I feel afraid that I have lost control of something that matters deeply to me. Activates the prefrontal cortex and begins to restore rational thinking almost immediately. This is not a metaphor. This is neuroscience. But naming is only the beginning, and what comes next is where things get genuinely interesting, because it goes against everything instinct tells you to do. The second principle is this. Do not try to solve the crisis while you are inside the emotional storm. Every instinct will tell you to act immediately, to fix everything right now, to make the pain stop as fast as possible. That urgency is a trap. The decisions made in the first hours of a crisis are almost always the ones people regret most. What the mind needs before it can think clearly is a deliberate pause, not avoidance, not distraction, but a conscious interruption of the panic cycle. Breathe, move your body, drink water, change your physical state. This is not weakness. This is the foundation of every sound decision that follows. Now, here's the part that tends to surprise people most. Emotional control under pressure is not about controlling your emotions at all. It is about controlling your attention. Where you focus in a crisis determines everything. Your physiology, your thinking, your behavior, and ultimately your outcome. People who fall apart fixate on what they cannot control. What other things, what already happened, what might go wrong next. People who hold together deliberately redirect their attention to the smallest actionable truth available to them. Not the full solution, not the distant future, just the next honest step forward. This is the discipline. This is what it actually looks like to stay standing when everything around you is going down. You will face moments in life that test every part of who you are, right? The emotions you feel in those moments are real. They are valid and they are trying to tell you something important. Your only job is to slow down long enough to listen before you respond. Because the space between stimulus and response is where your character is built, one crisis at a time. Control begins not when the storm ends, but the moment you decide to stop fighting the wind and start choosing your direction through it. That is the main point.